What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Moose channel. I am sorry it's been a few weeks since I've uploaded a video. I recently had some car troubles and I am making this video as an intro for the rear trailing arm bushings in a Volvo 240. When I had my car in the garage, I decided to jack up the rear end since the engine wasn't running and change out the rear trailing arm bushings. So go ahead and stay tuned and enjoy the video. Okay, so the first step to this process is making this press tool. If you go to Home Depot, they'll have everything you need. You're definitely going to want to buy more than one bolt, because you may find yourself breaking these things with the tension that goes onto them. But you basically want to get a 2-inch coupler and a pipe fitting, and you want to have something that'll go around the outside diameter of the old bushing, and then you want to get another 2-inch, but you want to grind all the threads off of it and make sure that you get it thin enough to be able to fit all the way through the ears of the trailing arm. Otherwise it'll get stuck, which is what happened to me on the passenger side trailing arm, and it was a big pita. So make sure to grind it down and make sure that it fits on the bushing so that it'll push it through. So basically I'm going to go ahead and get it onto the trailing arm and show you guys how it looks when it's set up. Another quick thing I'm going to mention, before you start to put your tool on, you're going to want to go ahead and get a hammer and tap around the old bushing. That's basically going to send shock waves through the metal and kind of loosen it up and break it up. And another thing you want to do is get yourself a can of PB Blaster or any type of penetrating grease and go ahead and spray it generously. Spray it towards the top and let it run down. I got a piece of cardboard underneath here to catch all the drips, and then let that sit for about 5 minutes. Alright, it's been a few minutes since the penetrating grease has been on it, so I'm going to go ahead and install the tool. So pretty much you want to take your 8-inch, half-inch bolt and put a washer on the end. Then get your coupler with the pipe fitting with a 1/2-inch hole drilled in the end. Fit it through, and then you push it through. There's a centerpiece in this old bushing. Sometimes it's easier to line these things up with this removed. You can throw like a jigsaw in there and run it a few times in there, but it'll tear up the rubber and you can just push it out. So you go ahead and get this guy set in there. And this trailing arm isn't that bad. It's definitely torn and ripped, but I feel like that'll press out just nice. It's lined up okay. Then you go ahead and get your fitting that's going to pop through it. You go over here and you line it up onto the other end of this side of the bushing. Okay, so see how that's lined up right there? So you go ahead and hold that. I usually use 2 washers just for strength purposes. 1/2-inch bolt. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting tension on this thing, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it starts coming out. A quick thing to note before you start putting tension on this is to put a spacer in between the 2 ears. These ears are just welded onto the axle, so if you bend these, it's not going to be fun to fix it. So go ahead and make sure to put that spacer in there so it's nice and secure. I got everything tensioned down, so now I'm going to start putting some cranks on her, and I'm going to start seeing a line occur from where the original seat was, and it'll start making its way out. As you can see, there's a slight little line right here, and that's how you can tell that you got a good press on both sides, that you're actually moving and making progress. If you feel tension and it's not making a line like that and it's not moving, that means that you have tension building up somewhere else and you're going to break the nut. Or even worse, which happened to me, is you'll strip it to a point where you can't loosen it or tighten it. So you'll have to get a grinder or a hacksaw and cut your bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and put a few more wrenches on here so you guys can see it moving out of there. You also want to jack up your axle to the rear end of the car so then you don't have a lot of play in your suspension. And you want to try your best not to bust your knuckles on this like I just did a minute ago. So yeah, you can see that line's getting bigger. I felt a thread give before I made this last video. I replaced this bolt with a new one that I just picked up from Home Depot. A lot of tension ends up building on this, and I think I felt it. Oh no, I guess I didn't strip it. Oh, and I guess as you can see, that just slipped the rest of the way out. Oh wow. So yeah, I guess with these there's a slight taper, so it's thicker on this side than this side. So when they originally went in, they just slipped in pretty easy and then popped out. Now here's the one thing that is kind of a bitch with this job. My little press part is now stuck inside of the ear, and you do not want to hammer this ear because you can cause damage to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the new press, start installing it, and once it comes down to here, it should just press itself out. But I'm probably going to put a C-clamp around here and give this a few knocks just to loosen it up so it'll come out easy. Okay, so I just put a C-clamp over this lower portion and used this little big socket extension and went ahead and carefully whacked out that piece. Now what you need to do, you need to take two pieces that are bigger than the diameter, so then you can press in the new coupling. And I will go ahead and I will show you. And also, make sure to get like a little scuff pad and some brake clean, and just scrub these in the insides of these ears. It's a good time to do it since they're out. The sleeves that I have for the replacement are from IPD, and there is a slight taper on one of the ends, and that end goes towards the back of the tire. So you want this flush end to be towards the differential. So you just want to get it flush and make sure that you got a nice starting surface. Everything is nice and lubed up already. It's all ready to go. It's a good thing to note. If you take some grease and just grease up the threads, it'll make everything a little bit easier when you're tightening down. You can see it slowly making its way in there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get it lined up. You want to make sure not to tighten it too much so you don't have to mess with pushing it back that way or this way. You just get it done right the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and get it all set up, and then I'm going to show you guys how to press the bushings in. Alright, so now that I got this new sleeve installed, you want to make sure that it's even on both sides. And on the IPD kit, it comes with two bushings that sit in. One of them has got a cambered edge that goes in the cambered edge of the sleeve, and the flat edge goes in the flat edge of the sleeve. A little dip. On each of the little things. Oop, shit. Just kind of swipe it. I get it all around. Alright, and then just like a thin little coat on this flat end. It goes in on this side. There we go. There she goes. Right on. Now to do the same to the other bushing. Okie dokie. Once you got this one all nice and lubed up, go ahead and stick her into the flat edge. There we go. Nice. Take that extra lubricant, go ahead and put it all onto the metal center coupling. Use the last little bit of this lube to get it all nice and ready to go. And you'll feel it on the other side once you get it all the way through. Alright, there it is. It's set in there. And that is how you change a Volvo 240 trailing arm. This is a job that you're gonna need to do on these cars around this time, so hopefully this video is helpful.